Good afternoon and welcome to the Entrepreneur's Gambit.
Very good afternoon.
Delighted
Very good
to have you
afternoon.
here.
Thank you so much for having us.
Oh, it's our pleasure. Hi, my name is Madan Padki. I'm one of the co-founders of Game. Game, as you're aware, aims to galvanize the ecosystem to create as many entrepreneurs as possible who can go on to create as many jobs as possible. And delighted to have our experience from the Bangalore cohort, Geetha and Lavanya. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Hi.
And yeah, it'll be lovely to get to understand your journeys a bit more, dive in a little deeper into your experiences, learnings, challenges, and whatever words of wisdom that you'd have for anybody embarking on a similar journey.
Okay.
Right. So yeah, let's have fun times over the next 45 minutes or so. So let's start with you, Geetha. One of the questions I love to learn and I get asked a lot is, did you always know that you want to be an entrepreneur, or did you wake up one day and say, oh, from today I'm an entrepreneur, or did it just happen before you and you realized? So how did it start for you?
So I was like 17 when I decided I'm going to open a restaurant.
Okay.
And the instant reaction from the family was like, food business? No way.
And there was nobody in your family?
Nobody in my family is in the business itself. They are all as employed. Okay. Nobody in my family has ever done any business. So then I said like, Appa, when I grow up, I'm going to start a restaurant. And he's like, no. Where do you keep coming up with these crazy ideas, right? But then having said that, my dad's also always been my biggest supporter. And I tried to go and, join the Taj group for their food thing, but he kind of made sure that I couldn't join the program. And all of that happened, but then my interest was always in food. So when we traveled abroad, I kept gathering recipes. I kept getting more and more involved with food. And we came back to Bangalore. I got married, long story short.
Right.
Okay, so we came back to Bangalore. And there was an event that had to happen for a Christmas event that had to happen for somebody, and they didn't make any of the Christmas goodies. So there's a seat here in my house, like a similar sofa. Okay. I'm sitting here, my husband is here, and my friend is here, and they're talking to each other, and they're like, Christmas goodies, Geetha makes the best stuff. I'm like, what? I'm not selling. I make stuff, I give stuff to people, gifting stuff. Okay, I'm not selling. That's where it started. And though there was an idea that, yes, I would take it up, I would do it as a business. If it was not for that instant, I don't think it would have happened with the alacrity with which it did. So, yeah.
Excellent. Oh, you remind me so much about this. I can imagine the scene from this movie, English Winglish, where she makes some lovely laddus. And everybody goes, she makes some lovely laddus, and then she starts off. It sounds...
It's
almost like that.
It was like that. I really identify with that movie very well.
Because, one of my favorite movies as well.
Yeah.
Oh, lovely. And how many years ago was that?
This was sometime in 2000, I think about 10, 12 years back.
Okay.
12 years back, yeah.
Okay. Wonderful. How was the feeling when you woke up and said, now people are buying my stuff and
I think the first time somebody called me after this event and placed an order for 6 cupcakes. I think I sweated over it for a week, and the customer didn't get back to me. And I was like, every day morning I would wake up and be, should I message her and ask her, did I do something wrong? She hated. And then I finally one day I said, I just sent a message saying that, hey, I didn't get back from you. Was it all good? He's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I was so busy. I forgot to let you know. But those were the bestest cupcakes ever. And I wanted to order some more. Like, okay, wow. What a relief. So, there are many small stories like that.
Yeah. Oh, lovely. Great. Lavanya, what's your story?
So I fortunately come from a family of professionals. So one side of them are professional, my parents are, and my uncle and aunt were always entrepreneurs. So I knew that I wanted to be both. And I think that's where I kind of have now ended up. But I think starting off as a practice as an architect, I had no idea that I will really end up having a business of my own. I think I had a mental limitation with the idea of being an entrepreneur. To me, I was loving my work, and if you love something, how can it be work?
Correct.
Or how can it be hard? It is just joy.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I kind of fell into this entrepreneurship, and I think it has taken me quite a while to own up that I am an entrepreneur. I really I hadn't done it until very recently. But I think I always knew I wanted to do something on my own. Not just knew, I kind of followed my journey of life in that manner. And I knew I had to be on my own.
Wonderful. No, I just want to pick up a point and maybe reflect on that a bit. I meet a lot of people who say, listen, I'm so stuck in my job and I don't like it, but there's something else I love, but I don't have the courage to do it on my own. Right? It could be, I have a lot of friends who are IT professionals who are terrific cooks, for example. Right? Say, hey, I dream of starting a restaurant, or somebody wants to start off a music band or a music school or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So many times I think we're fortunate to do the thing that we love and get paid for it, right? And not feel that it's work.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
Yeah.
So if you were to meet somebody like that who says, I don't absolutely love what I'm doing, but I have a passion and I want to pursue it, what would be your advice to them? I'm sure you will say go for it, but there's also certain practicalities that come along with it. So what would you say?
I'll tell them that if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else will. So, you can keep thinking about whether you want to or you don't want to, and you can keep, analyzing it a little bit more and being more prepared for it. But there's never going to be a right time.
Correct.
There's never going to be a right time. The right time is right now.
Perfect.
So if you really want to do something, if you really are keen on following your dream, just do it.
Lovely. Just do it. You'll make Nike proud. But that's so true.
Yeah,
right?
that's very true.
Yeah, I always hear, if I had a co-founder, if I had this money, if I had the space, I'll do it. And that if never happens.
It never happens.
Right?
Because that if is actually, a fear that you have that you will not succeed.
Yeah.
So if one if is fulfilled, you'll find another
if to
and another
doubt
if
yourself.
and another
Perfect.
if.
Yeah.
So if you can believe in yourself, and you can just say, okay, this is it, I'm going to do it, and that's it. You'll see that everything else will just align and fall in place for you.
Beautiful. So well put.
I so agree
Lavannya,
with her. I so agree with her. That if you love something, just do it. There is going to be a little risk involved. It is not going to be like right there, but it is worth every little bit of it because you're living it completely. There is not a bit of the days of any bit of your life that you're hating or disliking. If I could share a short story.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of my ex-husband.
Okay.
We just got married, and it was a few days into the marriage. Vivek decided to, his parents wanted him to be a doctor, so he studied to be a doctor. But he realized that all through his love was for photography more. So he loved medicine, but he loved photography more. And I think we were sitting down a few days into our marriage. We were just friends. We never really took it as a marriage. And late in the night, he said, you know what, if I have an early morning operation, I kind of force myself out of bed at 4:30 because I have to be there at 5:30. But if I have a shoot that I'm to go to at 5:30 in the morning, I stay up the whole night imagining, thinking, feeling, getting excited about the whole thing.
Right.
And I really want to pursue photography, but it is going to be not very practical. How will I kind of fend for ourselves? How will it really work? Should I do it or not? I said, you should. That's the only thing you should do. Because if you love something so much that you can keep awake the whole night for it, it is worth going. And it was a risk for him. His family was not totally pro. He had a lack of support. It took a lot of time for him to kind of financially get himself on track. But I'm so proud of what he has achieved right now. He's an amazing photographer. Wow. He does some beautiful work, and he adds value to the lives of the people he touches. And to him, his life is complete.
That's awesome.
Lovely. Lovely. I think there's this term going around for some time called the passion economy. Right? Which says that, earlier, as you said, you could not probably connect the dots of focusing on going after your passion and making money.
True.
right? But today,
It's possible.
it's possible, right? There's so much of opportunities
Absolutely.
that it takes the passion and that belief in oneself
Yes.
to say, I can do this.
I can do this.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. Uh,
Most of the time we sell out to what other people think that we can and we can't do.
exactly.
And we allow them to define our boundaries.
Boundaries, yeah.
And that itself is extremely limiting.
Hmm.
So if you can learn to not be limited
Yeah.
by boundaries
Yeah,
and, step out of the house,
yeah,
I think that's the best thing you can do for yourself.
yeah, absolutely. But it's easier said than done, right, Geetha? I'm sure many days, you would have heard people around you say, I told you, Geetha, you should not have gone into this business.
Oh, yes.
Right? Or Lavanya, why are
Absolutely.
you pursuing this?
Yeah, yeah.
There's so much of money to be made. Look at the mistakes you're making.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So what keeps you, of course, you'll dig into yourself deeper and then say, look at your passion. But how do you deal with those days and those kind of bumps? I'll tell you what, even now, in the rural business that I run, when I speak to a bunch of investors, a lot of them say, are you mad? This is not what you should be doing. I don't think this model will work. And they'll find 100 things in my business model which is not right.
True.
Right? And for a few minutes after the call, I think, okay, maybe the guy is right. Maybe I'm not doing something,
Yeah.
Second guess.
And then you say, what the hell? It's my passion. I'm following this. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But what keeps you going?
So I'll go.
Yeah.
Okay. I deal with this a lot. Okay. And what I do is I have a note on my phone,
Okay.
which has got all the feedback that I have received from my customers,
Lovely.
which has actually made me smile.
Yeah.
So when somebody has come and told me something that is, what the hell are you doing? I told you this is not going to work. This is not the right thing to do, blah, 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 blah. What I do is I go back, I listen to whatever they have to say. I don't react. I don't respond. I'm like, okay, thank you. I got your communication. And I go away. And I go back, I look at all that feedback, and that kind of reinstates for me what it is that I'm up to.
Correct. Yeah.
So
the
I think that's the only thing you can do, because when you
you can't control what people say or don't say. Yeah. Wonderful. What about you, Lavanya?
I think I remember why I ran away from home in 2002 in the first place. Was to be able to find my own freedom and identity. And there's nothing more I love beyond that. So, like it or not, good or not, failure or not, this is my identity, and there is nothing else that I do to be better.
So there's no plan B.
There doesn't have to be a plan.
There doesn't have to be a plan B.
There doesn't have to be a plan
Yeah.
B. Yeah. This is it.
Yeah. No, that's a wonderful piece of wisdom. So let's come back to, you mentioned about customer feedbacks, right? One of the biggest challenges, of course, as you said, getting your first customer and getting your first customer to believe in you, right? And then using that to grow your customer base itself. So, how difficult or easy was it to acquire the first X number of customers, first 100 customers or 200 customers? What was that experience like?
It was not difficult,
Okay.
because when I started as a home baker, I think about 10, 12 years back in Bangalore, there were not that many of us who were doing the kind of work that I used to do. I used to do a lot of fondant cakes and theme cakes and all that before. So for that quality of work, I used to get orders mostly by word of mouth.
Word of mouth, okay.
So acquiring the first one, it just happened. I don't know how. So I mean, I know it's going to sound really vague, but then that's exactly what happened. I got a call, and she said that she heard about me through somebody else, and that she wanted the specific chocolate truffle cake, and if possible with a fondant theme. Okay, so this was my first customer. And I had never made a fondant cake before. I had completed my class about a month back. And here she is asking me to make a cake with some flowers and stuff like that. And I said yes. And my mom is there and my dad is there. And they're like, are you crazy? What are you doing? You've not practiced. How can you just take the order? I said, if I keep waiting, it's never going to happen.
Correct.
So I took the order. And from there's been no looking back. So That was difficult. And then after that, when I switched back to doing what I really enjoy doing, which is the breads, again, that happened because somebody came and they tried a burger in our restaurant and they liked the bun a lot. So they went back and then they said that, I live in this community and would you be interested in supplying breads to us? So that's where it started.
Okay.
So I think my customers found me.
Found you. And therefore you bring a very, very important point to the fore that whatever you do, be the best in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, if your product is great, then customers will find you.
Exactly.
You don't have to find customers, right? So, many of the entrepreneurs I work with, and this was a lesson I learned I used to live in Japan for a couple of years.
Wow.
And their aspect for quality and this perfection is unbelievable, right?
Unbelievable.
So I used to go into one of these hotels and stay in those small shops. I mean, small, cubicles. And I used to, for example, struggle to open the window. And you try, it's not opening, and you're frustrated. You call the manager in a broken English, Japanese. You tell him this is not opening. And one guy told me, in Japan, everything is easy. Nothing is hard. So he says, if you're finding it hard, you're doing it wrong.
Exactly.
And he just touched the window like this, it just opened.
It just opened, yeah.
And every time I think about that's such an important life lesson.
It is such a
very true. But that
we
have lived in Japan, and I can so relate to somebody saying that because it's very true.
So I keep saying, okay, guys, if you're struggling to find customers, it's not customers' problem.
Yeah.
It's your something is wrong at your end.
It's something, sometimes the other thing is also to be considered is you might have a really great product.
Yeah.
But if you're not going out there and talking about it, then you're not doing justice to your product either, which is what I was not doing, which I have started doing now.
That's a good point. Yeah. Yeah. What about you, Lavanya? As we were discussing, you've always been with these customers, but as an architect.
Yes.
But to offer them a new service.
Yes.
An add-on or a downstream service. So
in our case, I think the customers made me into the entrepreneur I am.
Okay.
It is they who guided us. They who told me that I think you need to put all the eggs in one basket and have a company that offers the design, build, and the interiors, because I was anyways coordinating the whole gamut of it. So to that we're extremely grateful, because there's been such a huge amount of support. But I think that there's only one really important takeaway here, and which I think Geetha does as well, is that it's the intention with which you do what you do.
Yeah.
And it is not to be able to acquire more customers, is to be able to do the best for them, and in the process the other automatically just works.
Yeah.
Then that is when you naturally flow into it.
Correct.
Rather than you force yourself
into
getting people and trying to appease them.
Yeah.
And all of that.
It's lovely. It's actually a very spiritual point you're making.
I'm so sorry.
No, but it's fascinating.
No, but
because what you're saying is, listen, finally, there are no compartments in my head that this is an entrepreneur, this is me, this is somebody else, whatever, right?
Yeah.
You're just being.
Yes.
It is operating at the pure sense of being, in the sense that, listen, if you love what you're doing, you manifest all that love into the product. That you create. You genuinely care for the customer.
True.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And that is maybe what is a plus point of being a woman entrepreneur.
Okay. Tell me more. Let me learn.
is nurturance.
Is a natural.
Yeah.
Okay. So our intention for wanting the best for the other one is something that is just ingrained in our feminine selves.
So you got to tap into that itself.
So the men need to tap into it.
Exactly. Men need to tap into that. Yeah, it's just there. Yeah,
it's just there.
It's there.
I think it happens.
And I think what Geetha does, and the way she does it as beautifully as she does, is because of that love and nurturance that she wants to render to the people whom she's baking for.
Lovely.
And that's exactly what we do. And in the process, that's it. I mean, if you open our website, that's what it says on Studio Alia's website, that we love our clients and we love what we do, and we are just waiting to love you more. So if you are looking for love, You come to us.
Fantastic.
That's so beautifully put.
Yeah.
I had been to this ashram in Ahmedabad. I visit the Gandhi ashram often, spend a lot of time there. And there are a group of people who run a fantastic cafe in Ahmedabad called the Seva Cafe.
Yes.
Right? If you haven't been there next time, you must. I mean,
They're good
post-pandemic.
friends.
Okay. It's fascinating. And I love one line they put there, which says, food plus love equals prasad.
That is
Yes.
It's such an amazing
Yeah.
thing that it is, we just don't serve food,
Yeah,
and they serve it with so much of love
true.
that the food out there just says tastes divine, right? And I asked them, what special ingredients have you put? They said, heart,
Huh.
right?
Yeah.
And I think that operating from the heart for an entrepreneur is very important. Obviously, you need to operate from the head and
That's
stuff
yeah,
like that,
yeah.
right?
That was
Because
And then
one too,
and
but
you've heard these stories about when you're doing a business, you don't do it, you don't be emotional, you become professional, you leave your personal and the professional aside.
da, da, da.
But you know what? It is not, that is maybe because you kind of lose a track.
Correct.
Is the reason that someone says what they do. The point being that it is personal. Every business
Yeah.
is
Every
personal.
business is
It
personal.
is all about me and the
Yeah.
way who I am
Yeah.
and what I want to be able to
Yeah.
do and what is the value that I'm trying to be able to give someone.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you don't take it personally, there is no other way.
Mm.
You have to be able
And that
to.
is why maybe what you do is
Yeah.
because you take it personally.
Yeah. You're all in,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
This is a lovely set of inputs here, Geetha, Lavanya. My mind is just going back to one more thought here, right? See, the point is, at some point of time, I'm going back to personal and professional, as you start scaling up the business, right? How do you make sure that the customer experience stay the same way? And how do you infuse that culture amongst the people that you onboard and you work with? You must have a bunch of people, employees, and so what's been your mantra to make sure that this love shines through as well?
So in my fact unit, it's absolutely clear that no matter what, the customer is always right. And nobody says anything to a customer. We've had instances where customers have been like really, really sweet. And there have been times when customers have been extremely nasty.
Yeah. I'm sure, huh?
And for no fault of ours. Okay. They had an order delivered and somebody in their house ate up something and the lady of the house was not aware. And she called up and gave us a earful saying that, you didn't send this, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. I was like, all right, okay. I'm sorry, some mistake happened, we'll take care of it, we'll address it, all that stuff. And then 2 minutes later, she calls back, I'm really sorry, but I just found out that my son ate it. So, what do you do in these situations, right? So the only thing that I have done is I have been handling all the calls myself and I have made sure that my team, the 2-3 people who handle the calls, if I'm not available, are around and listening in,
learning from how you're dealing with customers.
So you do not go there and tell the customer already irritated, already upset. It doesn't matter. They just did not know. Maybe she had a bad day. She came in and she saw that whatever happened, right? If you cannot give her the sympathy at that time, if I was in her shoes, how would I have felt? So this is the on-ground training that we've been doing. And the other thing is, my people are very, very clear that I told them, listen, guys, be very clear that we are running as a company today because those people out there are buying our bread.
Exactly.
Right? So
you don't exist without them, obviously.
You don't exist without them. So, it's not me, it's them. So just make sure that you're taking care of them.
Yeah. And in your line of business as well, Lavanya, execution is a different ballgame altogether, right?
It's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, how do you, and for her, it is just giving a bread and they saying nice, but you will have one bunch of expectations of customers.
And they expect the world.
They expect the world and
and that world is to be given.
Yes. And how do you manage
And it
that?
has been challenge to keep everybody equally motivated, because there are, like she said, there are clients who are just superiorly sweet and loving and giving and participative in the whole process, and there are some who have very high expectations and outrageous expectations, and you can have real real issues with them. There can be fights and quarrels about little things, like I had asked for this tap. Why did this tap not happen? Like, you did the whole thing, but the tap is what is not.
One tap.
Like, it ends at that. And then we have a worker saying, madam, pura hathi de diya, uski pooch bhi de di, pooch ka ek baal bach gaya, uske liye bhi aisa kar rahe hain. So it happens, and there's nothing wrong with that, because they have all the right to have that level of expectation. And every time that we all go a little, we see the team going a little, edgy about it, I remind them that please remember why we do what we do. What are the values that we have at the baseline? Is because we are very grateful. If they had not come to us with the projects that they have, or for the dreams of the homes that they have wanted to build, and trust us with it, we wouldn't have been able to do and create what we've been able to. And there is no other way. And sometimes someone wants something more, someone wants something less. It's never going to be an equal balance. But remembering that we love. And I think that also is something that needs to transpire. So I realize that when it is me and just the client, it's easy, because I have already got my intention in place.
Correct.
But for my team to have that intention in place, I need to pass on a similar emotion to them for them to want it to be emoted to the outside.
Exactly. So what you're saying reminds me of another lovely quotation that I saw in one of these ashrams. And it says, whatever the question, love is the answer.
It is exactly.
Absolutely.
So when children ask me, ma'am, how do you know what they want? Because we ask our clients to give us a list of their questionnaire, and they write out a big long brief about 40, 50, 60 questions, and they find it like a big exercise. They're like, why are you making us do this? And yet that whole exercise is for them and less for us. For us, it's that first conversation. The ability to tap into what is it that they're not telling what they want is what that needs to go into the design and the project. And sometimes most of the times they're not aware of it, but that is the ability to be able to draw that into the homes and the spaces that they want. And from the amazing testimonials that we've got from our clients, we know for sure that they see value of all of that at the absolute end. They realize what all they got out of it that they had not even perceived they could get. But then you wait it out. You wait it out for that 1.5 years.
In that context, I realized that we haven't really talked specifically about the kind of businesses that you run. So imagine there's a prospective customer out there, and you had to make an elevator pitch to the customer about what you do and why you are the best. What would that 1 minute pitch look like?
Okay, so we at Fragrant Kitchen specialize in manufacturing breads, cakes, cookies, rusks, anything baked for that matter, with absolutely no preservatives and no additives. So if you want to have made at home experience with your baked goodies, but you do not want to have the effort of making them yourself, you need to reach out to me.
Lovely.
Okay. You almost are making me taking my phone out and say, hey, I want these tomorrow. Lovely. And Lavanya, what would you say?
So I'm Lavannya Goradia. I am an architect practicing since almost a couple of decades now. I also co-own a company, Studio Ala Projects Private Limited, and what we are is a one-stop solution for all sustainable building, construction, interior design needs. What we do is love and passionately design buildings that are very close to nature, even if they are within the urban fabric and the city. So if one wants to live in the city, but completely interwoven with nature, then we are the right people to come to be able to design and build a home for you.
Lovely. I'm now wondering, last two years ago, I got my home done. I was thinking, I wish I had met Lavanya at that point of time, but we will work in some form or other.
Thank you for even saying that.
Yeah, lovely. So let's shift gears a bit. it's one thing to be an entrepreneur, the other thing to aspire to grow, because growth does not come easy. Right? In my experience at Meritrack, when we grew from 3 co-founders sitting in one room, not knowing what to do, to at peak about 1,000 people. On reflection, I keep saying that an entrepreneur goes through 3 phases, right? Phase 1 is when you roll up your sleeves, and that's why you became an entrepreneur for and said, I will do it. Right? You baked all the goodies and cookies yourself. That second phase, then you move to the second phase, where you move from I will do it myself to I will get it done.
I'll get it done.
Right? Where you're saying I have 5-6 people somewhere, I will manage, monitor. So when we used to run these tests every Sunday for the first 4 years, I had no Sundays for the first 4 years, no Saturdays, no weekends. We had to do tests. So you had to be, clients call you, you're getting things. Slowly you started moving to the team and expanding the team and ensured that things got done. But scale really happens when you are able to confidently tell the customer it will happen. So moving from I will get it done to it will happen, when therefore you need to put the processes, the culture, the systems in place, right? So first of all, for you to come and be a part of the cohort, the entrepreneurs cohort itself, I must have been a call to, must be a very considered call, because it's not an easy one, right? You have to commit 6 months in your busy schedules, 4 days a month or 2 days a month or whatever that is. So 2 questions here for both of you. One, what is the trigger for you to feel that, yes, I need to be a part of this program?
Okay.
Right? And let's say your wildest wish came true. At the end of 6 months, we all give you a magic wand and say, hey, you can make 3 wishes that you want. What would those wishes look like now for you? I know it's an evolving wish list, but so what would those wishes be for you? Yeah, you want to
go?
Yeah.
So the reason that I signed up, it was on an Instagram, one was browsing, and I knew that mentally I was already working with a coach, and we had already discussed growth and where does growth take me, and what will it mean and what will it ask of me.
Nice.
And then this comes up and you're like, okay, so you have to sign up for something like that. So I did, and I was very, very grateful that I got signed up for the program itself, because I met amazing women like Geetha, and it's amazing that itself. And the second aspect that, the question and the wish list that you ask about, I think the magic one thing would be for us to be able to replicate the office in Bangalore and the services we offer here in 4 other cities, tier 2 cities around the country, so that we're able to spread the voice of sustainable and alternative construction and design to a larger mass, which is unfortunately limited. And then be able to collaborate and work and design workshops where we can work with a whole lot more contractors who want to learn the art of this alternative building construction, but see that they either may not be beneficial enough or do not know how. And the third thing is for us to be able to initiate and have a full running parallel business in upcycled furniture, because we see that there is so much of rundown furniture that is thrown away in the market, and everything has a potential just by design to be able to come back, also with the worth that one feels with it. And we attempted it, but we're not there with it, and we're so wanting to be able to tap that part of our business as well. So these are the 3 wishes that I'll be like, yay.
Wonderful. The terrific thing, and not many entrepreneurs can do that, is to articulate these wishes so clearly itself. So if you're able to articulate it, you're halfway there.
Thanks to the program. I must tell you that.
Wonderful.
It is thanks to the program with Game and Accelerator that we see that there is so much more that I can see, hear, understand, interpret, and even put it into words.
Excellent. So, before you answer that question, Geetha, the other point I want to draw, which is an interesting thing I heard you say, is that sometimes scale doesn't happen only by doing more of the same thing.
That is so true.
Right? That is so true. Scale happens when you take the whole conversation to a next level.
Yes.
And in your wishes, I heard you say that. Of course, the first one is about doing more of the same.
Yeah.
But the second one is really you're thinking of platform, right? You're saying, hey, what if I were to share my knowledge, know-how, and the networks that I have and bring a lot more people into this space to be able to execute on that.
Yes.
Right. I think that scale thinking is very important. Right. Otherwise, what happens is I've seen entrepreneurs get stuck in the same grind.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And somewhere the needle starts moving too slowly of growth. Right. You will never be able to unlock if you're not able to think. And I found one of the other things that you said also very interesting is an entrepreneur. I would rate an entrepreneur's caliber on her ability to collaborate. Right. And collaboration requires you to reframe the offering in a very different way.
That's true.
Right. Because without collaboration, there's only so much that one entity can do.
Yeah, and it is collaboration that can bring about real dramatic changes.
Exactly. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Geetha?
Okay, so the first question. I was going through Facebook and the game ad popped up.
Okay.
And I just applied because I had reached a point in my entrepreneurial struggles at that point where I knew that I had done everything I knew to do and I had reached a certain point, and if I wanted to up the game, then I needed somebody else to come and help me get to that level, because I had done everything I knew to do, no stone unturned, everything done, dusted, and I'm still here. So I was like, okay, this is not going to happen. We need to look outside, which is when the ad popped up and I applied, and I was really grateful that I got selected. And in the last few months of the training, what I have seen has shifted for me is in the first conversation that I had with Shantanu. When he asked me about numbers, I was like, completely, I would just blank out. Okay. You asked me about numbers, I would blank out. I was that bad. But now you ask me about numbers, I'm actually able to go back and say like, hey, just give me 2 minutes. Let me go back and look at it and come back.
Good.
And for me, that's a really, really long step.
Yeah.
One. And two is two key things that I was looking for in game. One was marketing and two was finance. And finance, of course, is already making a difference now. And marketing, like I told you earlier, before I would not go out there and talk about it and say, hey, I make the best breads in Bangalore, come buy from me. I would not do it. I would hesitate. I would like, should I, shouldn't I? Am I being too arrogant going out there and saying that? But now I have actually started saying it, and I'm not saying it out of arrogance. I'm saying it because I actually believe in my product. And I don't think there's anything wrong in speaking the truth. So that's a very big, very, very, very big step ahead for me. So I'm very, very grateful to Game for the opportunity and the learning, and I look forward to learning a lot more. And I don't think the 6 months is going to be a big struggle, because if in 2 months I can see this much, in the next 4 months, I'm really excited about where Fragrant Kitchen is going to be. For the 3 things, I think one definite that I would want is I would want a piece of equipment that I've been looking for.
Okay.
And if I can just snap my fingers and it's there in my unit tomorrow, that will be like, wow.
Okay.
And then croissants go on my menu. So that's one thing. Yeah. We make almond croissants, okay? So, I want that. And I think I want a government-approved loan.
Okay.
Okay. And maybe a working capital subsidy or something like that. Those are the 3 things that I would be looking for.
Okay. Fantastic. So, two reflections from what you're saying, right? I think what you talked about numbers is super critical. Okay. It's not just about numbers. It's about a feel for the business.
Yeah.
I learned this from my father-in-law. He's an industrialist, runs a factory with about 100 odd people in Mysore, Springs. And I am forever amazed at his attention for details, right? So I go to his factory, sometimes he's in Mysore, and everything he knows to the thing. He'll say, hey, that place is a new spring, he'll show me some, go down and say, there are 13.32 tons of material there. I'm saying, why are you remembering to the second decimal place?
Wow.
Right? Then he'll say, yesterday my quality number was so much. Every detail he knows about the business, right? And I say, what is the need? He says, why do you say it's a need? If I don't know this, then why should I be doing all this? He says, again, he says, if you love what you do, you'll know everything about it.
Yeah.
Right.
There is no way you can't.
True.
So I think, when you take that love so deep, that intuitively you just close your eyes, you can see everything visualized, right?
Yeah.
Then it becomes one with you,
Yeah.
right? Otherwise, you'll do it for the passion, but you'll never build a business.
So I can tell you exactly what is in stock in my unit today.
Excellent.
Okay,
Excellent.
I have not made any orders or anything.
Yes.
I can give you the count right now.
Excellent.
Okay, but you ask me the
The
stock
number,
value for it, that
exactly.
I will
The
not.
numbers, yeah. That connection you need to
Yeah,
make. Yeah.
that connection I need to
Yeah.
make.
So we have a few before we move to the last segment. I want to do one role play, so to speak. Okay, you mentioned that, hey, I want this equipment.
Yeah.
One of the lessons that we've learned from, again, a doyen in the space of entrepreneurial thinking is a lady called Saraswati. You should check her TEDx talk out and work out. And she talks about this whole model of effectuation, right? How entrepreneurs make things happen rather than waiting for things to happen.
Yeah.
That's the whole hypothesis, which has been proven over and over again. And one of the things she says is the distinguishing factor from a good entrepreneur and a very successful entrepreneur is the ability to make an ask. The ability to frame an ask in such a way that the answer is never a no.
Wow, that's interesting.
It can be a maybe, but is not, you don't give the person an option to say a straight off no.
Okay.
Right? So assuming that you're sitting in front of investors here, and if you had to frame the ask for the laminator that you said makes the best croissants, right? How would you make that ask? Take a shot.
I have a requirement here for a regular supply of croissants every week.
Okay.
But I don't have the equipment to make it.
If
you will invest in the, I just need 1.5 lakhs for that equipment.
Okay.
If you will invest in that equipment, I can turn it around in a month.
Wow. As simple as that?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. Yeah. I can turn it on in a month.
You turn it on in a month, matlab?
I can pay it back in a month.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I don't want that.
So Geetha,
Yes.
you have your 1.5 lakhs.
Yes.
I am the investor.
All right.
Okay?
Thank you.
You have it tomorrow.
All right. Thank you.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Let's do it.
Thank you.
Super.
And we'll figure it out.
Okay.
But the first croissant that comes out must be.
Done.
Yeah?
Done.
So we have a deal.
Yes.
Damn good.
We have a deal. Thank
Super.
you.
Beautiful.
That's interesting.
Very.
Okay. And yeah. Sorry, I got totally distracted. I'm looking at you and I see only croissants.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
So where were we?
You said before we come to the last one.
We come to the last part. Yes.
Yeah.
So if you were to look back, you've been in the space for several years now. You've been doing this since the last 10, 12 years. If you had to give an advice to your younger self, if there were some things that you learned over the years that you think, hey, how I wish I had known about it when I got started, what would those advice to your younger self be?
Be more organized.
Okay.
Be more organized and be more structured.
Okay.
That'd be the two things I would say. And I would also probably tell her that she should first stop saying that she doesn't do numbers. Because it's like, you keep saying something about yourself and then you end up believing it. And then that becomes the truth. And then there is no scope out. So, I drew that box around myself. So I would tell myself that, you can do it and you don't have to have that conversation about numbers.
So don't
Don't
keep your
limit
blinkers
yourself.
and don't box yourself to say, I can't do this. And just to go a little deeper into that organized and structured,
Mm-hmm.
can you explain that a bit more?
I can be a bit disorganized,
Okay.
indisciplined.
Hmm.
I think that comes sort of being creative.
Right.
So the
Right.
flip side is that.
Yeah.
And sometimes I lose track of the works that I'm supposed to do today.
Hmm.
So I now am a little better. I have to do lists and things like that. But in the beginning, I never did.
Hmm.
Yeah. So that's something that I
So
would.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's one of the harder things
Yeah.
that I've learned along the way as well.
Yeah.
Again, the same way I can be fairly disorganized.
Yeah.
And many times my colleagues tell me you tend to believe so much in ambiguous situations that entrepreneurs live in that you create ambiguities for us willy-nilly, right? But I think as you go towards scale, planning is everything.
Very, very, very important.
Right?
Yeah.
If we are not able to plan things properly,
Yes.
then you are leaving most of the things to happen to chance.
Yes.
Right? And it's not a good thing.
It's not a good thing, no.
Okay. What about you, Lavanya?
I think I tell my younger self, be open to being coached and mentored. I think what my younger self was not open to is being coached and mentored. Was too immersed in myself, thought that I knew it all, or even if I didn't know it all, I'm going to fall on my own, I'm going to crash on my own. Things could have been faster, better, cleaner if I had been mentored at the right time then. But now is a great time as well.
And what was that trigger? You mentioned that you had a coach. That you have a coach. So what was that? What triggered you to go seek a coach?
I think as an entrepreneur, an ongoing learning is an absolute essential need.
Correct.
To me, it has been. I've been very fortunate to have a lot more time to myself, unlike a lot of other women. So in the process, I think I came to a point where I realized that there is more than what one is already doing. And if I have to find or seek the more, then I need to be able to see what that more is really. Because is the more out of just as more business or more money coming in? Because that never equates is what I've known.
Correct.
It is about being able to serve more people, because that's still limiting.
Correct.
Where is it that I need to go to? And if growth or growing or being able to move to the next level is what I need, then I need to see it from another perspective.
Lovely.
So important.
Wonderful. Wow. I think this has been such a power-packed 45-50 minutes. I think we're almost to the end of the session. Thank you so much for sharing these nuggets of learnings, your own personal journeys, and I'm sure inspiring a lot of people out there to embark on similar journeys. I'm also so glad that we have called the show the Entrepreneur's Gambit. Okay. And we didn't add a suffix or a prefix to it, calling the Women Entrepreneurs Gambit.
That's really
whatever.
good, yeah.
Because I don't think the entrepreneur kind of is determined by men or women.
I don't think so, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think we add these and make it either more or less.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So it was a conscious call. I must really commend my team for sticking to it and said, why should there be a women entrepreneur or a male entrepreneur?
True.
An entrepreneur is an entrepreneur.
Entrepreneurs.
Right? And I love what I'm a big tennis fan, and I think long ago somebody had asked Martina Navratilova when she was 45 and a woman, and she said she was asked, so how do you play tennis so well at this age, given that you're a woman? And Martina's answer was simple. She says, the ball doesn't know my age.
I know, yeah.
Very true. Yeah.
It's so true.
So true.
It's who you are.
It's who you are.
Right? So hats off to who you are, and wish you all the very best.
Thank you.
What you're saying about your experiences at Game is really what we strive to create, right? We want as many entrepreneurs to go fearlessly into that unknown stage of growth and to take on those challenges. Is to say, hey, I didn't know numbers, now I'm learning numbers. I didn't know XYZ. Now I'm opening myself to learning, to mentor, to coaching, so that the world can benefit more from what we have to offer, right? And I'm sure this journeys for us should inspire hundreds and thousands and millions of women out there and entrepreneurs out there.
Yes.
To say, hey, if these jokers can do it, why can't we do it?
Absolutely.
Right. So
absolutely.
that's the whole part. So thank you so much.
Thank you
And,
for
Thank
having
you.
us, and thank you for being yourself. I mean, you're so amazing.
Thank you so
I just
much.
love these conversations. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.